Good afternoon everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. I have been a bit light on videos this week. I did my 6-weekly grocery haul, came back last Saturday, so a week ago, last Friday, a week ago, and came home with a cold. So I've been battling that since I've been back. So I'm struggling with congestion and stuff, which means that I didn't really want to do any voiceovers because I was, I'd get out of breath and it sounds bad because I'm congested. So finally starting to feel a little bit better, though other people in the house are coming down with it now, so there's that. So I have been filming, but I haven't been doing a whole lot of meal prep. I've been doing bare minimum over the week while I felt crappy. So you might get an extra what we eat in a week video or something, because I've filmed all the stuff that I've done, but most of it has been just to make meals because just haven't felt up to it, so which I need to get onto now that I'm feeling a little bit better. But today was also our food hamper day. So every month we get access to a food hamper through A4 Community Care, or Aberdeen Pantry is what they're rebranding to, and each month we get access to this hamper. It is $50 and we pay $50 for whatever we get. There is also produce bins, which are a gold coin donation. And that varies each month as well. So it happens every 4 weeks. Sometimes that 4-weekly period works really well for our shopping. So like the next one is going to be the week before we go grocery shopping, which will be fantastic. So we'll get those fresh stuff the week before we go grocery shopping. This one has fallen a week after grocery shopping, which is not so great because it means that we've got full fridges and stuff from doing the shopping and plenty of prep that I already need to do, and this is just adding to it. But we are grateful nonetheless. So because they come every 4 weeks and we shop every 6 weeks, that's just the way it falls. And we still grab them even if it's inconvenient time, not only because I get to share them here and everyone loves to see what we get, but also because more food's never a bad thing. It just means more work, and this week has been hard. I haven't done as much as I should have, so it's going to be a little bit of a catch-up, but we'll manage, we'll get there, and it'll all get done in the end. I don't know if I've mentioned that the fridge that wasn't working, we managed to get working again, cleaning more terminals. We left it turned off for a week, cleaning out vents and everything else. It's not holding temperature very well. I have a temperature gauge in it to double check. So we've only got fruit and veg in there because it's not holding temperature fantastically well. It's fluctuating a fair bit depending on the ambient temperature. So we might get through winter with it though, because the ambient temperature is lower, it's holding lower temperatures when it's cool. So we've got that at least, which is great. So yes, I'm going to show you what came in the hamper this month. So what did I miss? I got interrupted by a child. It's $50 every month. A4 Community Care, Aberdeen Pantry, Peter and Lois run it. You pay $50 and you get whatever happens to be in the hamper, and they also have the gold coin donation bin. So this month was sweet potatoes, apples, cucumbers, and something else, I think, but you'll see in the the haul anyway. Obviously my brain is not firing on all the cylinders still at the moment. I'm still just a little bit congested and not quite, working 100%. So let me show you what that is, for what we got there first, and then I'll come back. Alright, so in this month's hamper we got a bag of apples. These were in the gold coin donation for extra apples, and there was some potatoes. These are a lovely looking red potato, and cucumbers as well. Sonnet filled the bag with the cucumbers, and she has a real fondness for cucumbers, so we ended up with plenty of those, which they will eat. We also got the standard box, which has some sweet potatoes, some chilies, and some apples in it as well. We got 3 2-litre milks. It looks like they're all lactose-free milk, which is neither here nor there. A packet of crumpets, a packet of hot dog buns, and a couple of bags of these hamburger buns as well. So that will be lunch today, some of those. We got a big tin of tuna and some tin spaghetti, a small one of peanut butter, a couple of bags of sour lollies, and an arrangement of some protein bars and some little chocolate things. Some individual serves of the Heinz barbecue sauce, some Emmental and pumpkin seed crisp breads, a kilo of long grain white rice, a couple of packets of the instant ramen noodles, and a yogurt. There's a pack of Ziploc bags there and a roll of toilet paper. Also have 2 little containers of stock. This one was chicken stock last time when I interpreted. Yep, clear chicken stock, and a real stock one as well. Red wine, tomato and basil. Oh, it's a flavour boost one. That sounds interesting. Another pack of the Bluey pizza crackers and of the tortilla pocket kits. A bottle of water and a 1 litre of soy milk. We also got a small thing of Coke, a tin of corn, a couple of the chicken tonight meals again, the mild butter chicken and the honey mustard, some stuffed green olives, and some diced tomatoes, and a sparkling watermelon drink. The soy chunks, I haven't used the ones from last month. I got some of these last month and I haven't had a chance to use them yet, so we do have to give those a go at some point. I got a few of the frozen meals. Lazy Man's Bolognese. I'm not sure. It says turkey mince, cheese sauce. I'm really not sure. I don't know. A tomato-based meat cheesy dish, I'd say. Some turkey mince, a pack of dried spaghetti. We also got this big bag of marshmallows, which the kids are excited about. And I have been meaning to make up a new batch of our dairy-free powdered hot chocolate mix now that it's got into the cold weather. I normally make that up in bulk and then the kids can make their own hot chocolates with it, so now they can have some marshmallows with their hot chocolate as well. There's a couple of what look like pizza breads of some sort there as well. There's 2 of those. A packet of popcorners chips, some ribs which look really nice. I might stick them in the fridge and we can eat them in the next couple of days, and a barbecue rotisserie chicken, I'd say, but it's frozen, so I assume it's cooked because it's in a grab and go bag, so we'll just stick that in the fridge to defrost and we will eat that sometime for lunch, probably tomorrow. There was also some more sweet potatoes, some mandarins, and a couple of bunches of bananas. Alrighty, so huge hamper this month, fantastic. A lot of cucumbers, which obviously don't last particularly well. We might make some pickles out of them, but also the kids love just eating them, and they can just eat whole ones like each, so they will go through them. But I might make some sushi and some rice paper rolls sometime this week as well. I'll put those 2 on the menu so that we use up some of those cucumbers while we've got them as well. I've still got a bunch of cabbage too, so that works fairly well in using the cabbage in that too. So we'll do that. They'll eat the apples. I might make some sweet potato gnocchi with the sweet potatoes because that's always a winner with everyone, and it can be stuck in the freezer for meals when I'm not feeling like making meals too. But other than that, we'll see how we go. We got the big bag of marshmallows in this month's hamper, and each winter I generally do a batch of our own powdered hot chocolate powder to use. I used to buy the Cadbury's brand one in the grocery store because it's dairy free and it's fine. It's fairly high in sugar, but hot chocolate powder kind of is. That's just what it is. But it is quite expensive for the like if you've got 6 kids eating out of a $3 tub. Something all over my thumb. I was stripping rosemary before. I think that's what that is. Squirrel. If you have 6 kids eating out of a 300-gram tub, it goes pretty quick. Or 400-gram tub, whatever it is, $3 and something. The Coles brand version, I think, is $3 and something for a tub. It goes quite quickly. So I started making my own. So I already buy coconut milk powder. It's a vegan coconut milk powder because you have to be careful. If you don't do dairy, you do have to be careful when buying coconut milk powder. There's a lot of them that have milk solids in them, which seems counterintuitive, but that's the way it is. So I buy one from... I'll put the name in it and I'll show you the packaging because I can't remember it off the top of my head. And they have sales every now and again, and I buy like 3 bags of it on special with free shipping or something. So I buy it already to use for various things. So making my own hot chocolate powder with it just seemed to be the next thing to do. So what I have done is I've made some up today. So I'll show you how I make it, and then I'll show you a sample made up. So that you can see what I did. I also used some of the naturally sweet monk fruit sweetener in a batch of it to try that out because that way it's lower sugar, especially if you're adding marshmallows to it, because marshmallows are just pure sugar too. So, but the kids will be really happy to have it, and that's what That's the main thing. So here's how I make my hot chocolate powder. Hopefully you can use the same sort of concept to do it. And in this, for us here in Australia, it's getting colder now, so it's definitely hot chocolate weather. So thank you for joining me again today, and I will get back on board with regular videos this week now that I can actually breathe well enough to do voiceovers. All right, see you next time, guys. So we generally do about a 3-to-1 ratio for the hot chocolate powder, but there's a proviso there. We generally drink it straight on water. So if you're drinking this with milk, then you'd want to bump your chocolate ratio on it, because it's not going to be strong enough otherwise. But we generally do it on water because it's the cheapest thing to do for us and the easiest thing for the kids to just boil a kettle and use the milk powder. So with the 3-2-1 method, we're using, say, for this batch, 200 grams of the coconut milk powder, 100 grams of the sugar, and 50 grams of the cacao. Now I am using cacao as well, which is slightly stronger than cocoa. It's a little bit more bitter, a little bit more dark, so you probably could bump that up a little bit if you were using like Dutch cocoa or something like that, but it is very variable to flavour. Now I also add some potato starch, so I use 20 grams of potato starch in this batch. And what it does is it creates a sort of a thickness, thicker mouthfeel to the hot chocolate, which is really kind of important when you're having it with just water. If you're having it with milk, it's less so, but when you're having it with just water, you do want that extra bit of thickening, so that's what I do. Now I use a Thermomix when I'm using sugar, because I only buy raw sugar. I don't have anything else, so I can turn my raw sugar into icing sugar in the Thermomix. So that's what I do, because otherwise those sugar granules are going to be a lot larger than everything else. So I highly recommend using a food processor or something if you're going to be making your hot chocolate powder, because having all those powders at the same consistency helps you to get a more even scoopful out when you're making your hot chocolate, so it makes it a more even taste. So I put the raw sugar in the Thermomix and I blend it up till it's fine, not excessively, probably only 20 seconds is enough to just powder it. And then I add everything else in as well. So I add the cacao, the potato starch, the coconut milk powder, add that all into Thermomix as well, and blend it at sort of speed 5. Again, just use a food processor if you don't have Thermomix to blend it up, just to make sure it's nice and evenly. I scrape it down and do it again quite often. I just want it nice and evenly blended, evenly sized. I'm going to say molecules, that's not quite the right word, but evenly sized grains, so that everything blends well and it all sits in the jars consistently. Otherwise you'll find that certain things settle and certain things rise within those jars, and it's not as easy for the kids. So I do it all in the Thermomix, and then I pour it into jars. I have these gorgeous Christmas jars that are sitting empty on my shelf, and they're not preserving jars. They don't have preserving lids or anything like that. They're purely storage jars, so I thought that they would be wonderful for this. I don't care that they're Christmas. It's, big deal. I'm not buying Christmas things that I only ever use at Christmas either, for that matter. So, So these jars I filled up. So that batch, the 200 gram, 100 gram, 50 gram, is a single batch. So the first batch that I did, I actually doubled, and that fit almost 2 of these quart-sized jars. The second batch that I did, so I just filled those jars up, put the lids on them. The second batch that I did, I followed the same premise, except that I didn't grind up the monk fruit blend because it's already quite fine. So this is a naturally sweet monk fruit erythritol blend. Naturally Sweet gifted me a bunch of their products a while ago to show, and I've showed them off bits and pieces. We use them in various different things. I don't use sugar replacements in a lot of things because I'm not hugely fond of the flavour sometimes, but I think that it'll work quite well in this, because generally speaking the sugar replacements actually taste slightly sweeter than sugar. So in a hot chocolate type situation, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I decided to give a single batch with the monk fruit blend as well, and if it works then I'll continue to use that. I also have a couple of other blends from them that I can use as well to try. I think that it'd just be neat to have some that's a bit less sugar, especially, as I said, if we're adding marshmallows to it. So that's all I do. Mix it all up in the Thermomix, make sure it's nice and evenly, finely blended up, and then put it in the jars. When I go to serve it, I just do it with hot water, generally speaking. So I just boil the kettle, and you can put 1 to 3 tablespoons of hot chocolate in your cup. It really depends on taste preference. I showed 1 tablespoon here. I probably would be more likely to have 2, but 1 is chocolatey. It's just not overly chocolatey. But at the same point, I'm really congested at the moment, so it's quite possible that my taste buds aren't working real well. I try and encourage the kids just to use one, and we use small cups of hot chocolate because I just think that that's a better way to do it. One scoopful and a smaller cup, and enjoy that smaller amount sort of thing more often than use it all up in a hurry. I have one of these little whizzy things that we use to blend our coconut milk into our coffee. So I find these wonderful for blending powders like this into water, but you can always just use a spoon. We've ground up that powder fine enough that it should just go in with a spoon, but the whizzy thing works wonderfully. So I use a whizzy thing to put it through, and I decided to add a dollop of our coconut cream that we use in coffee just to try it out, and put that in there as well and whiz that up as well, and then added some marshmallows because we got them in the hamper, and that was the whole point of this, was to have marshmallows in some hot chocolate as a treat for the next while. This is a really big bag of marshmallows and theoretically should last us many weeks, but I have 6 children so we shall see, but the hot chocolate will last anyway, and I make it up regularly during the colder months because they really enjoy having it. We actually have a second kettle other than this gooseneck kettle, a larger 2-point-something litre kettle, because the gooseneck kettle is not large enough to make 6 hot chocolates. So, but it was super tasty. So that's how I make my dairy-free hot chocolate powder, but theoretically you could just swap out normal milk powder in there as well. I've never tried it, but I assume that it would work. It's all the same principle, and have your own homemade hot chocolate powder, and you can adjust the chocolate and the sugar at will to decide what works for you.